hello, back again in the San Francisco temporary studio. It's gonna get better, I swear. So today I want to talk about the Great Resignation. You know, I know that's been like all over the LinkedIn forums and Twitter and whatnot. And I know there's even like some back pull of that, like folks who thought, you know, grass was greener on the other side, and then it's actually not. But what is actually like driving it in oil and gas, I guess? You know, I know there's COVID and all that stuff, but let's dig in like a little bit further. So I was at the API conference about 2 weeks ago, so American Petroleum Institute, you know, Cybernetics and Control Room conference, like super great conference. And I had a control room lead operator actually give me a really interesting data point. He said back, you know, 5-6 years ago, they'd post a job for a control room operator and they would get hundreds of applications. He literally said like over 300. Now, he's lucky if he gets 10 applications. So not only is there a great resignation in oil and gas industry, there's just so much less interest in the industry, right? And these numbers really show it. So what else is there, right? So, you know, I pulled up an article just now before, you know, trying to get some data to go into this. And in 2013, 50% of the oil and gas workforce was ready to retire in 5 to 7 years. That was obviously more than 5 to 7 years ago. So where are we now? So right now, about 71% of the workforce is 50 years or older. So even more is really aging in the workforce. And as you can see with this data point, very hard to get talent in. So another thing that it's been called, there was a Deloitte article on this, so calling it the Great Compression. So, you know, with oil and gas, like the cyclical nature, you know, the oncoming energy transition, digital transformation, there's been a great compression of the workforce as well. So less people needed, lots of layoffs, which has been very unfortunate. But now in the current oil boom, you know, folks are trying to hire that talent back, but where'd that talent go? It went to tech. So what is the solution here? You know, I'm obviously super bullish on automation. The solution is automation, whether we like it or not. How are we going to retain this information, the knowledge that the workforce has in these 50-year older folks if we don't automate what they currently do? So obviously with Crux, I'm talking the control room, right? How do you create consistency between your control room operators? How do you retain the talent from, you know, this aging workforce as they're exiting? How do you make sure that these fewer than 10 people who are applying for these jobs are actually set up for success? It's a big challenge, and I think it's a big challenge, should be, on all HR professionals and executives' minds. So again, automation, I'm just going to push on it. Like, that's the only option, whether that's RPA in the more you know, task-oriented automation, you know, our IPA, RIPA, what we call it, in control room automation, so automating how your control room operators execute their procedures, checklists, and rules of thumb. If you want to get that continuity in your operations and you don't want to lose all of this, for lack of a better word, tribal knowledge, you have to automate. This is just the data. This is showing what the workforce is doing, and we have a solution. We just all need to work forward and adapt to it. So yeah, it's a rant on automation.